She's still laughing.
That's so funny. Welcome to 5 Lemons Left. We're the real stuff, the lemons making lemonade. So pucker up, because we're going to be discussing our life's lessons and the nitty-gritty details of our spiritual journeys.
Hey y'all, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Drusilla.
I'm Melissa.
Hello, this is Morgan.
And I'm Penny. Welcome to our podcast today.
Welcome back to another episode of 5 Lemons Laughing. And I just want to start off by saying thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. We all know that lives are busy, and we appreciate you showing up here. Today, we are having a great discussion about what it takes to tap into divine guidance. Guidance?
I like goddess. I love that, Amanda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are divine goddesses. So there we go.
Divine goddess guidance. Say that 3 times fast. By the end of this podcast, we're going to reveal the top 3 things that you need to do to start trusting and leaning into your intuition. And to start us off, Penny is going to do a short meditation just to get us present.
Yeah, it's really important for us to slow down, get still, so we can hear that intuitive voice that's inside of us, that's guiding us, our internal teacher, as they say in A Course in Miracles, which is our, our spirit, spirit. So if you can, if you're able to, if you're not walking your dog or driving your car, if you can just sit with your spine straight, your feet flat on the floor, and just rest your hands in your lap.
I have a question before you continue.
Go ahead.
Is cross-legged okay? Because I usually am cross-legged when you do these, and I always think I'm not going to get the full benefit.
Oh, Jesus, I'm getting that. That is perfectly fine, Morgan. Whatever works for you. I just always have my feet on the floor.
And I want to interrupt too, since Morgan did. Isn't
it that like phone call? Did you guys hear that phone call I got too?
No,
you did. Okay.
So funny, because this is how meditation goes, right? Right when you decide to sit, like life happens. So this is normal stuff. Like even if you are like walking your dog, doing your dishes, you can still become mindful. Yes. You can still become present and still. So, just because you're not sitting cross-legged or feet on the floor with your eyes closed, you can still tap into that.
Yeah. See, that's why we have each other. To just be with each other and to know that there's nothing we're doing wrong. Nothing's wrong. It's just what works for each individual person. So if you're sitting cross-legged, if you have your feet flat on the floor, if you're walking, if you're driving, it's all good. So just become present by just closing your eyes if you can, if you're able to, or just soften your gaze if you're able to. And just shift your attention away from your thoughts and begin to focus on your body. So feel the weight of your body sitting in the chair, or if you're walking, feel your feet as it's taking each step. The weight of your feet. Are you hitting all 4 sides of your feet, all 4 corners, or are you? Just pay attention to the weight distribution on your feet or the weight distribution on your chair. And then place your hand on your right hand on your stomach and just be aware of the rise and fall of your stomach as you're breathing in and out, the sensations of that with each breath. Just pausing and feeling your breath is always a really great way to lower your heart rate, lower your blood pressure, especially when you've gotten stressed. Just pausing and breathing and paying attention to your breath is really helpful. Now, notice the temperature of the air as you inhale through your nostrils and as you exhale through your nostrils. And let go of those thoughts as they come. Keep refocusing on your physical sensations. Now bring your attention now to the sounds that are occurring around you. Listen to the sound that's the farthest away. Now bring your attention to those sounds that are closest to you. And perhaps even your own breath. When was the last time you really listened to your own breath? And then once again, return your breath, just noticing the rising and falling of your chest or stomach with each inhalation and exhalation. And then when you're ready, just open your eyes and come back to the room.
Wow. That's my favorite meditation. I just love that. Thank you so much. Like, I think
Yeah, you're welcome.
my voice is even deeper, right? Like it's
Calmer.
It is. There's a huge shift. Yeah. So it was my idea to do this topic today. And the main reason that I wanted to talk about intuition is it started, I think I've told this story before, but I'll just summarize it really quickly. It's about intuition. I didn't listen to my intuition when I went writing. I 3 times my intuition told me to do something different, 3 separate times. And I completely dismissed it. And I got bucked off my horse. I did a face plant. There was blood. There were bruises. It was a big deal. And it got me thinking about intuition. Like, the intuitive voice was so clear, so calm. Like, I really know what that intuitive voice for me, what it sounds like. But I really it made me start thinking about, well, how did that voice get so clear for me? And the first time that I remember having like crystal clear intuition was way back in my 20s. I had someone just told me about the book Bringers of the Dawn, and it's a little out there, and it talks about being a beacon of light, being the person living in a way that your light shines so bright that the whole world lights up. And I remember, and it just hit me like so strong. I'm like, yes, I want that. And then right after that, I decided to go on an adventure across the country with one of my friends. And it was a pull. It was like my intuition was just pulling me like, and it was like one of the most magical trips I ever took. And it was in my 20s. So so like thinking back, I was like, what was that? Was it, was it because I claimed I wanted to be the light of the world? Like, was that in setting that intention? That is what helped me develop that part of my intuition, So that's what I was really jazzed up about, what all my limonettes had to say about what what they do or what they think is the best thing for developing intuition, because I think that's valuable information. Now, whether you're going to listen to it, that's a whole different story, right? I heard it clearly and I still did a face plant. So that's a story for another day. But like being able to listen and discern it, like that's important stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Amanda, I think the first thing is just to really start practicing listening to it, right? And just acknowledging that you hear it. Because a lot of times I found that I just go about my day and I don't even tap in and listen. I just go because, that's what I do.
So Penny, what does that tapping in and listening look like for you?
Well, for me, what I'm learning and practicing for the last year and a half is slowing down, because I have made myself so busy that there's no way that I'm even going to hear the messages from my intuition, because I'm running from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. And so I'm practicing slowing down, and I'm recognizing that I can't even hear my intuition if I'm not pausing, if I'm not, just sitting quietly, just like we just did a few minutes ago. Even that was for 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. And there's lots of opportunities for your inner guidance to come through during those times when you can let go of the thoughts that, are running the show, that ego thought system, that fear thought system. So that's what I'm practicing, is just slowing down, sitting still, and listening. So did that answer your question? I'm not even sure.
It did. And is it okay if I ask a follow-up question?
Okay. No, of course it is. Of course.
So you say you've been doing this for about a year and a half. So do you get intuitive hits when you're doing it, or do you notice in your life that you've been practicing slowing down, that things are falling into place more, or how is one thing correlated to the other? And
it's kind of a little of both, Amanda.
Okay.
Yeah. Because sometimes I get the intuitive hit. Yeah, Penny, go do that. And other times I'll just be reading, I'll get some information on something that is really in alignment with who I am. And it'll be, yes, Penny, go do that. And so I'm trusting that, and I'm taking action on it when I get those hits, those hell yeses,
Yeah.
And so, but it's both. It's when I'm slowing down, and it's just in life. because I'm slowing down. Yeah.
I love that. I love that that's what you went to, was the slowing down, because I think you and I are both that's our focus, one of our areas of focus. And that the whole world is structured in such a way to distract us and to keep us from tuning in. And so we really have to sort of, it's going downstream spiritually and, metaphysically, quantum physically, but it's going upstream in terms of the way the world is structured and the way society is structured. I mean, they talk about these weapons of mass distraction, like social media, news, and just busyness and productivity. Like all of these things are designed to keep us out of our power and out of that connection with our higher self, our true self, which is really kind of what intuition is, another way of saying it. So the slowing down, it sounds, I think sometimes we want a more complex answer, but it's not complex. I mean, it really is just slowing down. I mean, I've had stacked meetings today, and they've been short ones, but they've been scattered throughout my day, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 30 minutes here. And I have, little gaps between meetings, 30, 45 minutes. And the tendency, the programming is to maximize those little spaces between. Okay, I've got to eat lunch. I should take the dogs for a walk. I need to put this laundry away. I want to jump on the bike for a minute. List of things to check. But like I'm learning and practicing today, I have been practicing in a perfect world, all of these things would get done, but let me just pause and feel into do I really need to do that right in this moment? And the pause is just so powerful, because sometimes the intuitive hit is don't turn on that audiobook while you're walking the dogs. Don't turn on that podcast, but you can turn on the podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Sometimes seriously, they're subtle, when you can learn to listen to those subtle, seemingly insignificant nudges, then you're cultivating it, and you can hear the quote unquote bigger things that you'd really like clarity around. So that would be another one. Slow down, Penny, I think is huge. But another one is just to practice trusting those little nudges, like, ooh, I think I should take the dogs out to pee, or ooh, I think I should call my mom. When you practice with the little things, then you get more attuned to recognizing it when it comes through for the bigger things.
Morgan, I have to admit, when you said don't turn on the TV or the whatever, this big fear, this big emotion of fear came up in me, what are you talking about? It's it's visceral, right? To get to that quiet and stillness that takes, it's a big deal. I just wanted to bring that up.
And you know what I think that is, Amanda?
Tell me.
It's our consumerist culture. We're consumers of not just tangible goods, but of information. And I used to always be consuming, and it was good stuff. It was spiritual podcasts and spiritual books and things like this. But getting ready for work, I'm listening to something. Driving to work, I'm listening to something. Cleaning in the kitchen, I'm listening to something, and just consuming. And it has a place and it has a purpose, but so does not consuming for a little while.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons that I like riding my horse River so much, is because there's no phones, there's no nothing. It's, I do ride with someone, a friend. She rides, too. But we have a little jibber jabber, but not much, right? Because I think quiet is a big part of it. The slowing down and the stillness. Yeah. Which is scary AF. I learned that new lingo.
What is AF?
You have to.
What?
Fuck. As fuck.
As fuck.
As fuck. Oh, as fuck. Okay, got it.
It's scary AF, right?
Got it. Okay. Gosh, sometimes.
You're not up with the hip lingo, Penny. It's okay.
Not today. It's okay. So, Melissa, got to hear from you, girlfriend.
Okay, well, I think we have leapfrogged over something, which is so many people. I've heard this out of so many people's mouths. It has come out of my mouth, which is, how do I know what is the voice? How do I know when it's ego and not God talking? Right. The universe. I mean, I have heard it so many places. And I used to say it. And I think that for me, we are talking about kind of slowing your thoughts down, quieting yourself. But there's also that let's just say output versus input. So output, if you're in a situation, you're praying, you're asking for things, you're searching for things. When you are trying to solve a problem, when you're Googling, you're doing all this stuff, even in prayer, you're asking. That is the outgoing and what I think you need to switch to, or what I've had to switch to, is the incoming. So I feel like this year, for the first time, I actually feel like my answers are coming from inside of me. Before I was,
that's awesome.
I was still looking outside myself for answers, or even like synchronicities even. But now I have I meditate like sometimes 2 hours a day, like at least probably around an hour. And it has helped me like take all those clouds of thoughts. They're still there, but stop like focusing on them so I can hear what's already inside. Or for some people, it's like what is coming to you, not what you're reaching for.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've talked about this before, in like getting to the point where I can kind of quiet my mind. I started many years ago driving in the car without the music on. I don't.
Crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I think one time we said this, and I was like, I think I said something like, driving in the car with everything off, and it got misinterpreted that I was driving naked. But
that's hilarious. I don't remember that. I love that.
I keep my clothes on, but I do sometimes. I really need to, like not even focus, let go, like surrender my mind. I need quiet. So I practice with turning things off in my car because I can control that. I can make that happen. Usually, used to be I was driving lots of kids around. Now I'm not. So it can be a real place of, keep your eyes open, but you're emptying your mind and being quiet. And Morgan, like you, I've just started in more ways than one, quieting my life down and not having to have music on when I clean and all that kind of stuff. So those have been those little steps towards what I try to do now is be still. So, and be quiet and be silent. And I think my practice with all that has really brought me to the point of like, oh, there is an answer inside of me.
That's
and yeah, and I can finally get to it. So lots of religions and philosophies have said, Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. The like New Thought, the answers are within you. Course in Miracles says, be still and hear the truth. And a lot of the workbook lessons and stuff are formed so that they help to create that stillness. It's just a practice. I mean, I am nowhere near where a lot of people are in this world with their stillness, but it is definitely my focus this year. And it was last year. I think that's what has helped me so much. But Gabby Bernstein has a really great meditation, and it is be still and receive. And it's in her book, You Are the Guru. And I got it in audio so I can hear the meditation. And it's really like a 5-minute meditation, but it's literally just quieting your mind and then making like a declaration. I'm ready to receive. And then just to listen to what comes in. And I think, so it's that not sending it out, it's that in, but I also think it's a trusting that what you're hearing is coming from a loving place, a quieter place. Like the ego to me is like loud, and I always have to like have a, like it's always about me, I think. It's really self-centered, my ego stuff. So that's kind of a gauge on the ego voice versus God's voice or your own voice. So I've practiced with that too, like just listening and then trusting what I hear. So yeah, it's a practice.
So
That's beautiful.
yeah, that is beautiful. And those are good quotes. And I love the way that they came from different places, right? Like there is, to me, the religions, there's a central theme in them, right? There is a central theme, and that is one of them. And the big thing that we haven't talked about yet is, like you brought it up, like the God, or receiving from what, from whom, from, so like, is that a big part of intuition? Is there, I believe in, I believe in God. I believe God is love, and the connection, that's what connects us all. And that's what quieting and slowing down does, is taps into that. So I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on, tell me all your thoughts on God. Because I would really like to hear them.
Well,
and is that part of intuition, right? Is that part of intuition? I'm throwing that question.
I think it can be, if it resonates for you, and if you're not a God person and you're a little skeptical of spirituality, although I don't know that you'd be listening to this podcast if that was you. But, if you're more like a sciencey, factsy person, then we can just call it intuition. Like, it can just be called intuition. But I think it's all the same thing, no matter what you want to call it. Like, receiving guidance from my higher self, receiving guidance from Holy Spirit, or, whatever. It's all the same stuff, I think.
I think trying to figure out where it's from doesn't work for me. But like, I'm saying the same thing you guys have said with God, or like hearing God, or like if Drusilla was here, I wish she was here for this episode, because her life is about listening to God in her life. And so I know she would have great insight on this, but it's the same thing. For me, I have just felt like something opening in my chest, like something. And I think it is just me finally trusting myself. That what that is going to be the right thing for me to do. So
that is major.
Yeah.
Major breakthrough.
It's stillness. I swear to God, it's being silent and still.
Yeah. Beautiful. That just opened something for me. It's like kind of back to Amanda's question. Intuition, or, recognizing the guidance from your higher self, or whatever. It's all really love. Like, it's all really about accessing what's the most loving choice in this moment. Yes. That's really all it boils down to. And you can make the less loving choice, and your experience will be different. And it's not bad or worse. It might be experienced as a little less comfortable. Like if I, hadn't paused and had crammed my day full, like I, robotically wanted to do, then I would just show up here a little bit zapped and a little bit less enthused about being here, and a little bit less present. So, it's not make or break if I don't follow that intuition. It's just the slightly less loving choice. That's really kind of what it all is. It's all about accessing the love. That's what we're here to do. Maybe?
Yeah. No, I love that.
Totally. No, I was just thinking about, when you were talking, Morgan, I was just thinking, like, we're either moving ourselves forward and towards love, or we're moving ourselves backward and towards fear. And I don't know if it's backward or forward, but I just saw a visual of, moving towards love or moving away from love with everything that we do, everything. And so what do we want, right? Thoughts become things. So think the good ones. trust. And I love, Melissa, that you're saying about getting still. I do about an hour of meditation a day now too. I try to do 20 to 30 minutes in the morning and 20 to 30 minutes before I eat dinner. Because I'm learning that, from morning till the afternoon, a lot of stress is building up. Like we go through a lot of stuff in those 8 hours, approximately 8 hours. And so we need to give ourselves a break, right? We need to give ourselves a time out, to get still and be quiet and just release all that from our day. And so that's been my practice lately. And it's really helping. And I thought, I'm a busy woman. There's no way in hell I can do. I have a lot of stuff to get done. And, I might have procrastinated throughout the day or avoided. And so now I really got to get it done. But I'm just saying, no, Penny, go do your meditation. It's the best thing for you. And so I'm interrupting that busyness that I think is what I'm supposed to be up to. And, slowing down, pausing, getting still, getting present.
Oh, good. To me, it feels like like a big plate of vegetables. I don't know.
You're right, though. It does energize us.
Yeah. And it feels like I just feel better when I have spent some time quieting myself, because I think I could just zip along, going for dopamine, going for the next, conversation, planning, the whole future, all of that stuff. I mean, it's never ending in the world, which is my head. And so, I need to get some frickin' stop signs. Like I just need to, in my head, I just need to stop and take a break.
And, I just want to let our listeners know that, 20, 30 minutes may be just way too long as you're starting a practice. So just sit down for 3 or 2 or 1. Just sit down.
Drive your kids up in the car with the music off and just do that for a little bit and then wash your dishes.
Exactly.
Going on.
Yeah. Be present.
And,
with
another, like when you're washing dishes, wash the dishes instead of thinking about everything else. And another thing that I'm doing too is I do have a yoga practice, and pranayama is one of the arms of yoga. And so I do 10, I do.
We all do.
Thank you, Morgan. I'm so happy to hear that. I do 10 minutes of pranayama, alternate nostril breathing, before I actually do my meditation, because my nervous system gets pretty ramped up. And so pranayama helps me, or breathing exercises, just actual breathing exercises, helps to calm down my nervous system. So I do that. And then I do 20 minutes of meditation. Mostly. Sometimes it's only 10. James Clear had a really great thought this last week, and he said that consistency is key, but you also have to give yourself a break. Like if you're too busy, cut it in half or whatever. So it's better to be consistent and do some versus none because you're too busy or whatever. That's not exactly what he said, but that's how I interpreted it. So, yeah.
And that, like, sitting for 20 minutes, like, just freaks me out, right? Like, just the thought of that really sets me on edge. I have started doing like a little 5-minute, 6-minute guided meditation. I've been doing it for 2 weeks now. And before that, when I walk my dogs, like I'm consciously become present, right? I look around me. I look at the sky. I look at the trees. Like, so in my own way, I believe it's a moving meditation for me. So it is about stillness and quiet and all, but it's different than just sitting there. And I also know the value of sitting and I'm just not there yet. I mean, I think it's a win when I walk into the house and like I automatically want to turn on the TV and I'm like, I'm going to wait. I am going to put away the groceries, or I'm going to do this one thing before I turn on the TV. And I claim that as a win.
That's awesome.
Make your meditation practice your own, like that. Maybe the walking the dogs is your meditation practice. Dr. Joe Dispenza actually has a walking meditation. So, I mean, not everybody's meditation practice has to look the same. We are billions of different people and different personality types and different, so anyway, just a thought.
And do what works for you. Practice, try all different kinds and see which resonates with you. I mean,
I want to go back to something that we touched on though, because like when Melissa was talking about like how we all have that question, like how do you recognize the intuition? I remember like really first like diving into like some spiritual classes, like the ones with Jennifer Hadley where we all met. And my big burning question was that like, because I had major stuff going on in my life. I was married to an alcoholic and my relationship was very stressful. And I didn't know how to access the intuition around what do I do about this relationship? It was a big question. I'm not talking about how do I know if I should go walk the dog right now? Like I'm talking about the big life stuff. This is what people want to know about, And so one thing that has helped me with that is to realize that sometimes the intuition doesn't come through right in the moment when you're demanding it and wanting it. It just doesn't, because we're so emotionally shaken up in whatever upset is taking place that we're not clear. We're not clear channels for it to come in. So, what I have learned in that situation is to, ask for the clarity that I would like and just not expect an answer right away. Let it come through when the dust settles. And so that was a big learning for me, because I was like, why can't I need to know what to do right now. Why can't I know what to do now in this very moment? And so you just have to trust that everything that happens is perfect. Even if you are wishing you knew exactly what to say and exactly what to do in the instant. There's just a certain amount of trusting the process, trusting the work, letting it come through when it will. And also what's been helpful for me is learning about the different personality types. Like in human design, they tell you like how you access clarity. And for me, it's to wait for it, sleep on it. Like especially when making big decisions. So, about, to end a relationship or not, or to buy a house or not, or whatever. If I'm excited and convicted about something in the moment, I'm supposed to sleep on it for a day or two and see if that excitement and conviction is still there. So, like we are working with the programming system, like it or not. Yes, we're beings, but we're operating in a body with a personality, and that personality, everyone has a different operating system. So understanding the operating system that you're working with can help you with spiritual stuff. So anyway, those are a couple of other things that just have been percolating as we've been having this conversation.
Morgan, I love that you said that, because like the way my work, my personality is like being quiet, being still, then things come to me. Like then my life just starts unfolding, for me. And that's how I started trusting the process, right? And that's developing my intuition. It doesn't happen that often that my intuition tells me, don't do that. Like doing my horse thing that I ignored 3 times, right? That's clear. Like you're getting ready to do a face plant. You're getting ready, and I was like, no. So
and there's little practices like the God box. I used to do that, like have a box that I kind of set an intention that these are my things that I need God to work on.
Mhm.
And so you write on a piece of paper and you put it in the box and you wait. I mean, there are things that you can do like that are really focused and channeled and helps you to see you're handing it over and you're allowing first an answer to come. And that right there, you have to know that a God box, you're not going to get an immediate answer. Well, maybe you do, but it's not like an ATM, right? You're not putting your card in and getting cash out. There is probably a waiting period. So those little things help. They helped me a ton getting to this point. And the other thing, Lisa Natoli, who is a spiritual teacher, I remember her saying, if you're going to get online and Google it, or if you're going to fix it or try to work it out or find the best answer or ask everybody for their opinion, that's probably the ego. Mm-hmm. And so I have used that before, like, oh shit, what do I do? And if I find myself just like chat GPTing all night, then that's that same thing. That's that pushing out of me, like I'm out seeking it.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but I too go to chat GPT for the answers.
Were you on chat GPT just now, Penny?
No, but no, I was just joking about how, or I was just laughing about how, oh my God, thank you, Melissa. I just really get that I am seeking answers from chat GPT. And just a year ago, chat GPT didn't really even exist a year ago. Maybe it was a year and a half ago. I don't know. But it's just another option for us. Yeah.
Where you put your energy. If you're chat GPTing to get your answer of life, then that's probably not so great. But if you're, give me a tour in New York City, that's a different thing.
Right. Yeah. If you're using it as your virtual assistant, that's one thing. But if you're using it as your spiritual life coach,
there you go.
Similar to what you were saying, like this occurred to me just earlier today, and we've talked about this before too, but like a lot of times you'll get really, really clear intuitive hits and you'll feel super clear about it. Like for me, when I got the intuitive hit to cash in my 401k and sell our house and move to Costa Rica, if I shopped that around to get everybody's opinions, like they would poo-poo all over it. Like, you don't cash in your 401k before you're 65. You just don't do that. Like, that's what I would get. And then my parents, like, you're moving away. Just not a good idea to shop this stuff around if you are certain about it and it's going to be met with resistance, because what you're doing is you're either seeking external validation or you're seeking, I don't know. Anyway, it's ego that needs the outside forces to get on board. And, you could have a brainchild, you could have like the birthing of a huge creative project that came to you from spirit. And if you shop it around and people aren't ready for it yet, then they'll just poo-poo all over it and rain on your parade. And, you don't need that.
And you can do little tests, or I don't know, tests. I don't like the word test, but you can just experiment a little bit with this. Like, honestly, about 3 weeks ago, I was taking my dog out before the sun came up. It was pitch black, lived near a huge park, like hundreds and hundreds of acres. And so I walked out and I was like, who's going to be out here? And I got to this T point where I could go right or left, and the left goes down into this like little gully with trees everywhere and a little creek running through it. And I just felt like I shouldn't go down there. And it was like 6 a.m. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to go. I go walk this all the time. It's no problem. I'm just going to walk it. And I took like 20 more steps towards this direction. And I was like, I should not be going down there. And I just kept getting this hit. And so I turn around and walk my dog on some other little trails that's by roads and people see me. Later that night, my son comes in and he's like, there's like 15 cop cars with all their lights pointing into the park right in that area. I think, and he's like, I think they're looking for somebody. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was going, and I just kept going with it. Like, I just kept like, I can do that. I talked myself out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I'm going to like, what if this is like one of those, like, do not go down. So, I've never really paid attention to that kind of stuff. And I did. And I just had it was true. It was 911. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. You didn't actually have to have a face plant, right?
Who knows? Melissa might not be here today.
So we were coming to the big reveal.
Oh, God.
Penny, we're not going to put you on the spot to come up with three. Let's just come up with, what are the big three things?
Well, we revealed it over and over and over again in a bunch of different ways. And I wrote it several times, but it all boils down to slowing down, pausing, being still, be still and receive, slow down, pause, get present, and the answers will come. And I mean, that's what we've said over and over again today is slow down, pause, be still, be present, listen, receive. And then practice with the little nudges, right? And those little nudges, don't go down the ravine at 6 o'clock in the morning. Don't get on the damn horse.
If your intuition is telling you to do
that. Yeah, practice. Yeah. And then I had to just write this one down, is to put down the weapons of mass distraction, right? I love that. Thank you, Morgan.
So the three things, let me just recap. Number 1, slow down. Number 2 is quiet the mind. And then number 3, and if you guys think that I'm wrong, just let me know. Number 3 would be like some form of partnering up, some sort of surrender, like no matter what you call it, like tapping into love, tapping into the universe. Like, so those are what I heard, the top 3. What do you guys think?
Yes.
I think Penny's top 3. I mean, I heard that. I heard what you said. That's so funny, like to hear like how everybody reflected on what we shared. I put for 1, slow down. For 2, trust the little nudges, which I think was one that Penny put. And for 3, the guru is within, stillness, meditation, pranayama. So yeah, I think we're all saying the same thing.
Yeah, and overall, we'll be a beacon of light for the world, right? You like a little lighthouse?
I do. Melissa, do you have something different for the top 3?
No, I would only say tiptoe into the tulips. Just just take little tiny
baby steps,
try little things, right? Just start practicing.
Yeah, and we are all beginners. Every day we begin again. So just come in with beginner's mind, be curious, be open.
There's no mistake.
Can't get it wrong. Yeah, can't get it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. And you all already have this muscle, and you're just developing it. Just you've all had those times when you got the nudge that you should really call and check on your friend, and then it turned out that they really needed to be checked on. You know what I mean? It's just cultivating more of that, recognizing it, celebrating it when you catch it, and then you amplify more of it.
And if you teaser too, like sometime in the future in 2025, we're going to do a 21-day challenge on developing your intuition, right? Yeah. I'm just going to put that out. I'm going to claim that. We're going to do that at some point in the future. Little teaser.
I love it. Let's do that. Yeah. And really, if you have any intuitive situations that you either you did or you did not follow your intuition, just share it on our social media pages, or you can send a note to our website. We would love to hear about your experiences too, because we're all on this journey together. And so I just wanted to also wrap up with next week, we're going to start a series of relationship episodes. So stay tuned for that. We're going to dive deep into the role of how our spiritual journey can impact or not our relationships, depending on how we show up in the world, right? How we show up. So with that, I just want to thank you all for sharing this sacred space with us today, and trusting that you got what you came for today, and that if you trust your intuition, that life can unfold in really beautiful ways. And so keep turning towards the highest and best options for your life, the highest and best choices. I guess that's what I want to say. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.